Champion beach fishermen practice these 3 habits. Hi, my name's Roger Osborne. In today's video, I'm going to teach you 3 things that the absolute best beach fishermen do. They are game changers and they make a massive difference to your beach fishing. Stick around to the end for a free PDF download which will outline some vital keys from today's session. If you're enjoying my content, I'd love it if you subscribe. If you haven't already, it's totally free. Really helps me get out here and make more videos. Let's get into the fishing. Now, I have an onshore wind this afternoon. It's a southeasterly actually. It's not too strong, although the last couple of nights the wind has pretty much dropped on dark, so I'm hoping that's the same thing tonight. And I had a look at a few beaches yesterday, had a couple of options, but I've just opted to fish in this particular spot. I'm going to quickly see if I can pull a few worms first. I've got some beautiful live yellowtail with me tonight, so that's pretty exciting. But I'd like to have a handful of worms just so that I can play around with them while I've got some live baits out. So I'm going to just get my stocking ready. I love stockings, you know I love stockings. Got to get my stocking ready and put some pilchards in there. You know, I've been running some amazing beach fishing boot camps / training weekends over the last 18 months where I get a bunch of people together and we spend quality time over 2 days learning everything about beach fishing and beach worming. If you'd like to join me in person on one of these camps, receive some one-on-one instruction, group instruction on everything around your beach fishing and worming, why don't you join us at the next weekend, which is near Foster on the New South Wales mid-north coast on the first week of September. I also run boot camps fairly regularly through the year, so if you can't make it in the first week of September, perhaps you might be able to join us on one of the other ones. I've had an amazing time meeting people, and so many people have really improved their fishing and learnt heaps from attending these weekends. So I hope to see you there. I went through my freezer and I separated out a bunch of old pilchards and stuff. I really need to tidy up my fishing freezer. It's got so much stuff in it. But so I'm going to be burleying pretty heavily tonight, and just going to grab a few of these pilchards and whack them in the stocking. The tide's about 2 hours in. I still might be able to get a couple of worms, but before I do that, I want to give these yellowtail a little bit of fresh ocean water. I've had the aerator on, but I'm just going to turn that off, and what I'll do is I'll drain all of the water out of the bucket first, because I don't want to go down there. I'm going to have to actually get my bucket and dip it in and hopefully not lose any live bait while I do that, but I'll get rid of all the water. That won't hurt them for 10 or 20 seconds, and then I'll wade out and I'll get a bit more fresh water, because you know they've been in the car, sloshed around a lot, and then at least I can leave them and they'll be happy until I want to use them. So hopefully I don't get too wet. So I'm going to wait until I get a slight break. I'm just going to drain all the water out. Don't want to lose any fish, but drain all the water out, let them flip around for a second. I want to get a bit of nice green water without too much sand in it. Beautiful! They are going to be very happy now until their destiny awaits them. The sand is a little bit flatter down that way, which is a bit better for worming, so I'm just going to go for a little wander over there. And hopefully the tide's not too high. A little bit wild and woolly down here today, and there is rain forecast, but hopefully it doesn't really eventuate. Come on worms, where are you? Oh my gosh, I just saw 5 worms, 5 or 6. One wave of the bait and I saw 5 or 6 worms. Where are they? Where are they? Yeah, oh look at that, that's crazy. That is crazy. Oh well, he's a little bit of goodie. The pilchards are frozen, they're like ice blocks. They probably don't taste too good. They get an ice cream headache when they go to eat it. Oh, how did I miss him? For those of you who live in other countries other than Australia, beach worms are the weirdest things. They actually have fangs and they eat decaying flesh of things that die on the beach, like birds and fish. They come up and they rip pieces of flesh from whatever dies on the beach. They're amazing. Really strange creatures, but they're very good bait. I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but there's hundreds of beach worms here. I'm just going to wave this around, and as it goes back, you'll be able to see hundreds and hundreds of beach worms. Now, at low tide, it would have been a piece of cake because there's a lot of worms down there where you don't really get much time to catch them. So I'm just pulling a few up higher because I don't really need many anyway. But there is hundreds and hundreds of them. If you'd like to know how to catch these suckers, I've got a detailed course on my website. Just head on over and check it out. Really only needed a few worms. I've got enough to have maybe 8 or 10 casts with a worm bait. But that's not my main focus. Main focus is to get those live yellowtail out. Actually, I'm going to fish with both live and dead, but the tide needs to come in a little bit. So I've got a little bit of time to kill while I wait for the tide to come in a little bit more and it gets a little bit closer to dark. So initially I'm going to have a little bit of a fish with the worms. I've already pre-made some rigs, so I'm organised for the live yellowtail. Yeah, a little bit more water in that gutter and I think it'll be good. So the conditions are a little bit wild and woolly. There's a bit of swell, lots of water movement. You can see just in front of me here is a big, deep, open stretch. But to my left, there's a narrow trough along the edge here, which is actually reasonably deep. It's probably at least a couple of metres deep, but it's got a really good open access point for big fish to come in and feed along this edge in this deeper trough where all the bait fish would be. So I chose this spot because of these particular features, because there's nice deep water here. As the tide fills up, this nice little trough in here will get a fair bit deeper. I can see where the high tide pretty much goes all the way up to the to where the sand's been chopped off. So I'm going to be fishing in this trough in here on the inside of the sandbar, just hoping that some big fish are going to come in and come sniffing along here, looking for some small fish to eat. And on dark, I'll have those beautiful baits out there. So that's what my strategy was. I have looked at 4 different beaches. 2 of those beaches had reasonable spots, which was this spot. Another beach had a similar spot. I just opted for this one. You know what it's like. Which one will I go? What if I go there and I don't catch any and the fish were there? I think every fisherman goes through that. You've just got to make a decision. So I reckon it's as good as the other beach, so I just made a decision, chose this spot, went and got my beautiful bait, and now I'm ready to go. Sunset isn't until about another 25 minutes till sunset. Just going to get all my lines ready and then have a fish with the worms and get ready for it getting colder. One of the major keys when it comes to catching fish definitely is burley. And I know this from researching some of the best fishermen that we've had on our coast over the years, that they all concentrate on burleying off the beach. Especially the mulloway fishermen, they like to get a burley trail going, attract small fish and then big fish. So I've been through my freezer. I've got a bunch of old pilchards and I'm going to put them in this fish keeper net bag thing. I'm going to fill it up with pilchards and tie it to a rod holder. We've got several bags of pilchards that are going to go in here, and all of that lovely scent. There's another one here, another bag. They're all basically half bags of pilchards that I've taken home after a fishing trip. So I needed to tidy my freezer up, just had too much stuff in it. So see, look, I've got a decent whack of pilchards there that I'm going to let go soft, and then I'm going to mush them up and get all that bloody goop out into the water to attract the fish. I'm going to use a rod holder. Actually, I'm going to tip these pilchards out of my stocking as well. There's quite a few clouds around, but it doesn't look like it's going to rain. I'm just improvising. I'm going to extend the length of the cord on my keeper net with my stocking, just so I've just got a little bit more swing space when I tie it around my rod holder. And I want to get it out there now. I want to get that scent flushing out into this little hole here so that I can start getting it out there and hopefully bringing some fish in. This looks quite nice down here. And also, it should be a bit of a flat spot in the current because I'm kind of in the middle of this sandbar-y area here with this little hole in front of me. The current will be quite strong to the right and also to the left. So the tide will be, the water's going to be moving up, so I don't want to put this rod holder down too far. I have lost them on the odd occasion. I want to make sure I put it down fairly far into the sand. Just going to tie it on. Now as the tide comes in, the water's actually going to come right up here, so that's why I don't want to put it down too low. The waves are going to start to slosh it around and get that lovely smell out there. So I've got that ticked. I already had this rod rigged up for what I call a mixed grill, so I've stuck with that. I've put a worm bait on and half a pilchard, and I've got my other two rods ready. Now I can see that there's a current flowing from left to right, but I've positioned myself here specifically because it'll be the point of least current in this little trough. While there's not a lot of water depth just yet, certainly deep enough to catch some fish. So I'm just going to have a play for a little while, let a little bit more water build up in this gutter. And then I will put the big baits out. Don't have to cast out very far, really. Yeah, really only about a 30-metre lob. We'll just see how much current there is. See how much current there is and whether there's any fish hiding in there. I can see the water moving. I think I might come over and give these pilchards a little bit of a mash. I'll just use my heel to mush up those pilchards a bit, so then when the next wave comes up, all that blood and oil will start filtering out into the water. It actually looks a couple of metres deep. I'm getting a little nibble, I think, just then. I think I had a bite. Something's going on. I'm not quite sure what's happening out there. Yeah, I felt like I just had a little bite. It's going to be interesting to see if this spot's any good later once the water fills up a bit. Just see if any big fish do come in. That wind is freezing. This air is so cold. I feel like I'm standing in a fridge. It's freezing. It must be snowing, I reckon. So cold. Would you believe I was winding my line in then and a fish grabbed it on the way in? I can't believe it. It's happened again. This happened to me recently. I was winding my beachworm bait in and I caught a tailor, or also called shad or bluefish. All I was doing was winding my line in then, and this tailor has nabbed the beachworm. He's obviously been brought in by that burley that I've got there. 100%. Right on the edge. Oh well. All sorts of things can happen, can't they? So anyway, at least he didn't swallow the worm bait, but otherwise he would have just cut straight through my line. I'm going to keep this guy, because he'd be good to eat either for food or bait. So he's going to go into the fishing bag. So as I was mentioning a little bit earlier, the first habit that the best beach fishermen do is burley, and burley on a consistent basis, because it really does make such a difference to your catch. And it's not hard to do, it doesn't take much preparation. So burley is the number one key. The next thing that the best fishermen do is they actually put a little bit of time into selecting their fishing spot for a particular outing. They will go down and have a look at a couple of beaches, they'll look at the structure, and they'll want to choose a spot that looks like, you know, would be attractive to bigger fish, where the water is deep enough, where there's a nice bit of foam and white water, where there's a good access to the open water. So they'll put the time in to do their planning and preparation. They don't just go fishing anywhere and just chuck their line anywhere. There's always a bit of thought that goes into where you go fishing. So that's two of the habits of the best fishermen, is planning and very strategically choosing the spot, and of course burleying. So we'll get on to the next one in a minute. I'm going to chuck my line back out there. Crazy. Maybe if I wind it in again I'll catch another tailor. Just anyway, not that I really want to catch tailor. I think my burley is working. Just casting just a little bit further out, not too much further. There's a lot of power in these waves. Oh man, it goes right up my legs. That wasn't so good. Definitely had a couple of nibbles then, which I missed. It's probably a little early, but I'm going to whack one of those live baits on now, I think. The gutter is starting to fill up a bit. It's certainly deep enough, so I may as well put it out there and have it set ready to go. So I'm going to whack one of these yellowtail out. I've actually got a 9.0 hook, which is a fairly decent size hook. Should be appropriate, I think. Just going to look in here and find one. He looks pretty lively. I'm going to hook him in just behind the back of the head, not too deep into the flesh. Just going to put the hook through here. Ouch, like so. And he is going in. Oh, that landed in a good spot. I figured I may as well get one out now. Just get that bait out there. Hopefully he holds position. Get this happening. My rod holder. Just going to whack a fresh pilchard bait on. This one got nibbled by something small. Just pulling all this old bit of bait off, and I'll put the new piece on. It's just a bit of old pilchard from my freezer. Not the freshest, but I'm sure the fish will still eat it. There you go, beautiful, look at that. Okie dokie, let's go. Something's going on with this live bait. I've hooked up on a fish with this live bait. It just got off. Oh no, hang on. What have I got here? Well, I'll be. Look at that. Now that's Aussie salmon has taken that. Well, he's tried to eat that yellowtail. Look at that. But the hook's firmly in his mouth. Wow, can you believe that? It doesn't matter what bait I throw in the water, I always catch salmon. They're not the only thing I catch. Obviously, I catch lots of different things, but they must really like me, these fish. What can I say? Anyway, I'm going to put a new yellowtail on, but interestingly, this salmon got well and truly hooked. So I'm going to keep it because he's actually been injured. So I'm going to put him out of his misery and I'll take him home. I'll put this nice little one on. Well, yellowtail number 2 is going on. Oh, it's quite lively. Very lively. All right, I'm going to whack him out. Oh, that's funny, I've got 2 now. I'm going to pull this guy off. Put him in there, I'm not going to waste him. I've got a fish on my other line. While I was dispatching that salmon, my worm rod has gone off. Probably another salmon, but I could be wrong. Just want to keep him away from my other line. It's gone over this way now. Try and bring it up with this wave. Where am I? Goodness me, double hook up. Well, the salmon have obviously come into this gutter, just on dark. The burley has helped that to happen. This guy's been got by the stinger hook, the small stinger. You can see that in his mouth. So I'm going to put my fingers in there and get that hook out and let him go. Here we go. In you go, buddy. Yep. Alrighty, Salmon City. Well, I think I'll retire this rod and then I'll put another yellowtail out on my other big rod. So I'll take it up. Now this is the bait that I got back that salmon ate. So I'm going to butterfly this guy and put it on my other line. Just going to fill it up there along the backbone up to the back of the head. Turn it over. Just cut through there. Repeat the process. Back up towards the head. Then I'll pull the middle out. So I've got the butterfly. Like so. I'm going to whack it on my other rod. Now what I've done is I've snelled 2 hooks. I'm actually going to put one through the fillet and one through the front of the fish. So I'm going to use the top hook. I'm just going to pin the top hook through there, and then the bottom hook I'm just going to come from the inside out and have that hook down there in the lower part of the fish, like that. It's just a different method of doing it, but at least I've got 2 hooks in the bait, and that'll be a yummy morsel for a fish, so I'm going to whack that straight out. In the meantime, my other rod might have been towed out to sea. Hopefully not. I think something's going on with this rod, I've got another fish. I toss it at that other yellowtail, but I've hooked a fish on that second yellowtail. Be interesting to see what it is, if it's another salmon again. I can't believe it. Would you believe I just breathed in and a fly flew in my mouth? Even though I'm down on the beach. Okay, I've got a fish that's been washed up in the waves. Here we go. Man, those salmon, can you believe it? This is another salmon that has attacked that yellowtail. Wow. Amazing. It actually didn't even get to bite the yellowtail, it's just got the hook. Obviously that positioning of the hook is really good. The fish is getting the hook. But look, I'm getting the bait back. How is that? 2 salmon on 2 yellowtail. And I've got the bait back each time. Now this salmon has actually really swallowed that massive hook. Incredible. Anyway, I want to get this line back out in the water again. I'm just going to whack a couple of lights on my rod so I know what's going on. Just going to whack this guy up here before I chuck it back out again. Got him on there. Beautiful. Now I'm chucking this yellowtail out dead, whole and dead. I still obviously have plenty of live ones, but for the moment, I'll just put this guy out as a whole dead bait. You see, I've just got the hook in his head there, and you've got that whole dead yellowtail that I got back from that salmon. So the salmon have been pretty keen. They're biting on everything. I've caught them on worm, pilchard and yellowtail, but maybe they might move on and the dewies might come in, hopefully. I'll go and grab it. Something's going on with this. Yeah, I've got something. I'm going to come to the left away from my other line. Or do I? Something's going on. Unbelievable. Here we go. This is just a small salmon, this one, that has taken that butterflied yellowtail. Salmon certainly are out thick out there, even though it's dark now. The salmon are pretty thick. That's all we're catching really, just one tailor and a whole bunch of salmon. I'm just going to let this little guy go. There's quite a lot of surge. The waves are pretty powerful. Off you go, mate. This butterflied yellowtail bait is still intact. I caught that salmon, so I'm just going to pin that hook out through his flesh there again. So I've got the 2 hooks in there and toss it straight back out, because that's a good bait. Nothing wrong with that. Well, this session so far has been pretty busy. I've had lots of bites, obviously heaps of salmon, 1 tailor. I've caught salmon on, I've got 3 salmon on yellowtail, plus on pilchard, plus on worms. I've still got my 2 lines out there. It's not high tide yet. Now the third habit of champion beach fishermen is getting quality bait that is species specific. So whatever you're fishing for, you want to get the best bait that you can that is for that particular species of fish. The example on this video tonight is that I've gone and caught some beautiful, fresh, live yellowtail. I'm down here at the beach, and I'm putting those in there because I'm hoping that if there's going to be a dewey in that gutter coming in there at some point, that is a wonderful bait for mulloway. Yellowtail, whether they are live or dead, are an epic bait. So all of the best fishermen always put time into catching good bait, like fresh squid, fresh yellowtail. Depends on what you're targeting. If you were just fishing for brim and whiting, well then you'd go for beach worms, perhaps snippers, little cubes of pilchard. But either way, you want to make sure that your bait is number one for the type of fish that you are going for. So just a quick recap is location, putting some preparation into choosing a good spot, making sure that you burley, and then having excellent bait. If you do those three things, it's going to really transform your fishing, and that's what the best fishermen do. So I'm still going to hang out here for a little bit longer. I've actually got some I've got some brisket in the slow cooker at home, so that's going to be very good when I eventually get back there, because I'm absolutely freezing down here on the beach. But I do like my beef, so that's going to go down really well, and it'll motivate me through getting through this cold. Anyways, let's keep fishing. Definite bite. Definitely had a bite on this bait then. I just had a few bites, and that's all that is left of that butterflied yellowtail. The head's gone. There's just a little bit of flesh, so I'll put a new one on. And I need to check my other line. I think I'll chuck another live bait out now. So I think I'll do that first. Then chuck him out. Cool bananas. Those two bits out for burley. Put that on. If you'd like a free PDF download of some vital keys from today's session, hit the link in the corner or in the description below. Okay, so I'll ditch that other bit. I'm going to put this guy back on. That'll be better. It's not the easiest conditions tonight. It's bitterly cold. I think I'm feeling the cold because I've lost a bit of weight lately, so that's probably affecting it. So cold. Got some beautiful bait, but I'm thinking of heading off shortly. But what I've been teaching you tonight in this video, I can't stress how important it is. And what I'm telling you is the best information that I can provide you as a fisherman. I'm telling you the absolute best. So if you'll practice these things, you really catch a lot of fish. Now, so far tonight, all I've caught is salmon. If I just wanted to feed, I'm fine, but that's not really my target. My target was to catch a dewey. It's difficult, it's very turbulent. The gutto's okay, but it was the best of some average choices. So hopefully I'm going to come back down again soon when the conditions are a little bit more friendly. But I've been down here now for just on 3 hours. So that's a little bit longer than I normally fish down at the beach. My sessions are normally pretty short. So thank you so much for watching. Appreciate your company, and I really appreciate your comments. I look forward to seeing you very soon in another fishing adventure.